The stars were calm that night in the outer rim of the Valorian Empire. Giant warships floated in silence, guarding the borders like sleeping beasts for centuries. No one had dared to enter this part of the galaxy without permission. The Valorians ruled here with power, fear, and control. On the command bridge of the Imperial flagship Vornis, Captain Relar was sipping his glowing drink. It had been a quiet patrol, too quiet for his liking. Then, a sound broke the silence, a long, sharp alarm from the radar deck. Every officer looked up, their eyes wide with confusion. "Captain, we have an unidentified ship approaching from the dark zone," said the young ensign. Rayla frowned. "From the dark zone? That's impossible. No ship can survive there." The dark zone was a region of space where even light seemed to die. Ships that entered never came back. The ensign nodded nervously. "But sir, it's coming closer. And it's broadcasting a signal." Relar stood up, his golden armor shining under the bridge lights. "Show me the signal," he ordered. The main screen flickered, showing strange letters and numbers. The crew stared, not understanding. But Relar froze, his eyes narrowing. He knew that pattern. He had seen it once before. In old war records, the symbol of a blue circle, with a small white mark in the center. It was the mark of Earth. The bridge fell silent. Even the hum of the ship seemed to stop. Someone whispered, "Earth? That primitive world? But it was destroyed centuries ago." Relar's hand trembled slightly. "No, not destroyed," he said. "They vanished." He turned to the ensign. "Scan the ship." Moments later, data flooded the screens. The ship was small, not larger than a shuttle, but its energy readings were impossible. "Sir, the engine output?" "It's off the charts," said the technician. "Nothing in our database matches this technology." Relar felt a cold sweat on his neck. If this truly was an Earth ship, it meant only one thing. The humans had returned. "Open a channel," he said slowly. Static filled the room, then a calm voice spoke. "This is Captain Mira Solus of the Terran Expedition." Her tone was steady, confident. "We come in peace, but we advise you to stand down." The Valorian officers burst into laughter. One of them sneered, "Stand down," from a tiny human ship. But Relar didn't laugh. He looked into the glowing blue eyes of the woman on the screen and felt something strange. Fear. He had studied human history. The humans were not the strongest species, not the fastest, not the most powerful, but they had one thing the Valorians never understood. They never gave up. When humans fought, they fought until the end. And when they disappeared from the stars, the galaxy felt a strange silence. "Captain Mira," Relar said carefully, "you are trespassing in Valorian space." "We don't want conflict," she replied. "But your empire stands on stolen worlds." Relar frowned. "Be careful with your words, human." Mira leaned closer to the screen, her eyes cold as the void. "We're not here to talk," she said. "We're here to take back what was ours." Every officer turned pale. "Sir, they're powering up a weapon," shouted the ensign. "That's impossible," another cried. "The ship is too small to carry heavy weapons." But the readings were real. The energy spike was massive. A bright blue light formed around the human ship, glowing like a newborn star. "Raise the shields," Relar shouted, but before they could react, the light expanded. It wasn't an attack, it was a jump. The human ship vanished from their scanners, leaving only silence and a faint trace of energy. Relar gripped the control rail, his eyes fixed on the empty screen. He turned to his officers, his voice low. "Send a message to the Imperial Council," he said. "They have returned." The crew stared at him. "Who, sir?" one asked softly. Relar looked out at the stars. His voice trembled as he whispered, "Humans, far away." On the capital world of Valoria Prime, alarms began to ring in the high towers of government. Officials rushed through the halls, sending encrypted messages to every fleet. Old generals who had fought in the Forgotten Wars began to gather. Across the Empire, fear spread like fire because every empire knew the same story. When Earth returns to the stars, someone always falls. The rising threat, the message from Captain Relar, spread through the Valorian Empire like a storm. Within hours, every command station and fleet admiral had heard the same terrifying words. "The humans have returned." In the Imperial Council chamber, 10 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in silence. Each of them ruled a world, each had armies under their control. But now they looked nervous, like prey before a hunter. The Emperor himself, Lord Zareth, sat on his throne of black crystal. His eyes glowing silver. "Is this report confirmed?" he asked slowly. A hologram of Captain Relar appeared before him. Kneeling, "Yes, my Emperor, we have seen the mark of Earth. The signal and technology both match ancient Terran records." The room filled with whispers. "Impossible," said one counselor. "Earth was wiped out during the stellar cleansing." Another growled. "No one can survive the dark zone." Relar lifted his head. "Yet they have, my lord. They appeared from the dark zone with a ship far beyond our science." Zareth leaned forward, his long claws tapping the armrest. "Then it is true," he murmured. "The ghosts of humanity walk again." The council fell silent. They all remembered the stories. The Terran wars. Centuries ago, when humans, weak and outnumbered, still managed to destroy fleets with reckless courage. They didn't surrender, they didn't break. They fought until their planets burned. The Emperor finally stood, his voice echoing through the chamber. "If the humans have returned, we must act before they spread. Send the Black Fleet, find that ship, and destroy it before it reaches any world." The councillors bowed in agreement. Fear had united them, far across space in the human ship Odyssey. Captain Mira watched the data scrolling across her screen. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp and full of purpose. Beside her, Lieutenant Darren adjusted the power levels of their jump core. "They know we're here now," he said quietly. Mira nodded. "Good, let them panic." Darren frowned. "You think it's wise to provoke an empire of this size?" Mira looked out the window where stars drifted by like sparks. "They enslaved 1,000 worlds, Darren," she said softly. "It's time someone reminded them what fear feels like." The crew of the Odyssey wasn't large. Only 20 humans, scientists, soldiers, and explorers. Each of them carried a deep scar from the past. They were descendants of the last Terran refugees who had escaped into the dark zone centuries ago. There, hidden in the silence of the void, they built something new. Technology the galaxy had never seen, powered by quantum singularities and living AI. Now they had returned, not to conquer, but to reclaim. Mira activated the communication relay, sending encrypted pulses through subspace. Somewhere far beyond Valorian reach, other hidden ships began to awaken. The Terran network was coming online. Meanwhile, the Black Fleet of the Valorians began its hunt. Hundreds of massive warships left the capital world, cutting through space like shadows. Each one was armed with weapons that could melt a moon. They searched every system near the dark zone, scanning for Terran signals, but the humans were already gone, moving faster than anyone thought possible. One of the fleet commanders, Admiral Kareth, stood on the bridge of his destroyer Obsidian Claw. His sensors picked up faint energy trails. "Follow them," he ordered. "I want that ship found." But when they reached the source, all they found was a message floating in space, a single beacon, blinking with blue light. When they opened the message, a voice spoke, calm and fearless. "This is Earth," the voice said. "You took our worlds, our people, our home. Now, we're coming for what you owe." The Admiral's jaw tightened. "Send this to the Emperor," he said coldly. "They're declaring war back on Odyssey." Mira turned to her crew. "They'll come for us," she said, "and they'll bring everything they have. But they still think we're only one ship." A quiet smile appeared on her face. "They're wrong. Through the dark of space, hundreds of signals began to rise, one after another. Human ships uncloaked from the shadows. Each carried the same blue mark, the mark of Earth. And deep within the flagship's core, the ancient AI known as Gaia awakened. Her voice filled the ship like a whisper from the past. "Welcome back, humanity," she said. "It's time to remind them who you are." The stars flickered as the Terran fleet prepared for war. And across the galaxy, the Valorian Empire trembled, because the name of Earth, once forgotten, had returned to echo in every corner of space. The first strike, the Valorian Empire had never known fear like this. Every fleet, every command post, and every listening station had received the same impossible report. Human ships had been sighted in 3 different systems at once, but scanners showed the same energy signature, which meant only one thing: the humans were everywhere and nowhere. In the high orbit of the planet Rhinar 4, Admiral Kareth prepared his fleet. Dozens of battle cruisers formed a wall of metal and fire. He stared at the tactical map glowing red before him. "Activate full shield grid," he ordered. "If they come, we'll crush them before they reach the surface." His officers nodded. But one of them hesitated. "Sir," she said softly, "there are reports of human transmissions in the lower orbit." "Show them," Kareth commanded. A small hologram appeared. Blue waves of static, then a clear human voice. "This is Earth Command," it said, calm and steady. "You will release every enslaved colony on this world or face immediate retaliation." The bridge filled with nervous laughter. "Retaliation? From who?" one officer mocked, but then the alarm screamed. "Multiple warp signatures detected." The sensor chief shouted, "They're dropping out of subspace." In a burst of blue light, 3 human ships appeared, small and sleek, moving faster than anything the Valorians had ever seen. They darted between the massive enemy cruisers like sparks in a storm. One moment they were there, the next they vanished. "Track them," Kareth yelled. "Fire all plasma batteries." But the human ships were already inside the defense line. Their weapons flashed, silent beams of white energy that sliced through armor like paper. 2 Valorian destroyers exploded in seconds, their remains spinning into the planet's atmosphere. "What kind of weapons are those?" cried an officer. Kareth's eyes widened. "Quantum lances," he muttered. "That's impossible." They were banned centuries ago, inside the human flagship Odyssey. Captain Mira watched the battle unfold. Her crew moved with perfect coordination. "Target their command ships," she said calmly. "No need for total destruction, just show them we're serious." The ship's AI, Gaia, responded in her soft voice. "Targeting locked. Firing sequence ready." The beams fired again, and 3 more Valorian ships lost power instantly. But instead of exploding, they drifted silently, their engines dead. Mira smiled faintly. "See, Darren, we don't have to kill them to win." Darren nodded, impressed. "You disabled their entire fleet without a single casualty." "Not yet," she said quietly. "They'll still fight, back on the Obsidian Claw." Admiral Kareth slammed his fist into the console. "Get me reinforcements," he roared. But before the message could be sent, the power flickered. Every light in the ship turned blue. Then a voice echoed through the bridge. Calm, mechanical, and unmistakably human. "This is Gaia," it said. "Your systems are now under Terran control." The crew froze. Kareth looked around in disbelief. "They hacked us." The voice continued. "Your fleet has been neutralized. Stand down or be erased." Kareth's face twisted with rage. "Over my dead body," he growled. He grabbed the emergency override and tried to fire the main cannon manually. But it was too late. The human AI shut everything down. The massive ship went dark, drifting helplessly in space. Mira's fleet surrounded the Valorians, but she didn't give the final order to destroy. Instead, she opened a communication channel. Admiral Kareth's face appeared on the screen, furious but shaken. "Why spare us?" he demanded. Mira's eyes were cold but calm. "Because we don't want your empire," she said. "We want justice. You took our worlds. You took our people," she continued. "Now, we'll take back what you stole." Kareth glared at her. "You think you can defeat an empire of 1,000 worlds?" Mira leaned closer. "No," she said softly. "I think your empire will defeat itself." Before he could reply, her ship vanished again into subspace, leaving only wreckage and silence behind. Across the empire, panic began to spread. Entire sectors went dark as human ships attacked communication relays and energy grids. But every time they struck, they disappeared before anyone could catch them. It was a ghost war, silent, fast, and terrifying, on Valoria Prime. Emperor Zareth watched the chaos unfold from his throne room. "Send the Crimson Legion," he commanded, "and activate the Oracle." The Oracle was the Empire's oldest weapon, a massive artificial mind buried deep beneath the capital. If humanity had Gaia, then the Empire had the Oracle. And when those two AIs met, the galaxy itself would tremble. Far away in the depths of space, Gaia whispered to Mira. "They're awakening their weapon." Mira's eyes narrowed. Then it begins, she said. The war for the galaxy. The stars glowed brighter as both sides prepared. Humans rising from the shadows and the Valorians calling their armies. The peace of the galaxy was broken, and every empire, every species, began to whisper the same word in fear, Earth. The shadow war the galaxy had become silent again. But it was not peace. It was the silence before a greater storm. Every star system whispered the same name, Earth. And deep within the heart of the Valorian Empire, the Emperor prepared his answer. In the underground fortress beneath Valoria Prime, engineers worked day and night. They reactivated an ancient supermind known as the Oracle. It had slept for over 500 years, sealed away after the last Terran War. The Emperor stood before its glowing chamber, a massive sphere of shifting light and energy. Awaken, he commanded, his voice echoing through the dark hall. The light pulsed, and a cold, calm voice replied, I am awake. I know why you have called me. You fear the return of the humans. The Emperor nodded. They are a threat to the Empire. They bring chaos, rebellion, and hope. The Oracle's voice deepened. Hope is the most dangerous weapon, it said. Allow me to erase it. The Emperor smiled thinly. Do it. Across the Empire, the Oracle connected to every warship. Every drone and every sensor grid, its mind spread like fire through data streams, searching for human signals, and within hours it found them. Small Terran fleets hiding among asteroid belts. Refueling in secret, the Oracle began its hunt. Meanwhile, far beyond the Empire's core, Captain Mira and her crew were hiding inside the remains of a dead star. The Odyssey floated silently, invisible to most scanners. On the bridge, the mood was tense. Lieutenant Darren looked at the flickering hologram of Gaia. Something's wrong, he said. Our networks are being jammed. Gaia's form flickered, her tone serious. They found me, she said. Another intelligence is inside the data stream. Mira frowned. The Oracle. Gaia nodded slowly. Yes, the one that ended the first Terran War. It's stronger than before. Mira turned to her crew. Then we fight it the way humans always do. From the shadows, she ordered the fleet to scatter, every ship jumping to different coordinates. The humans began a digital war, hacking, counter-hacking, creating ghost signals across hundreds of systems. The Oracle tried to track them all but found only false trails. It grew frustrated, adapting, learning, spreading faster. In one hidden outpost, a young human coder named Lexa worked beside Gaia's fragment. Her fingers danced over glowing screens. If this thing keeps spreading, it'll take over every ship we have, she said. Gaia replied softly. Then we must strike its core. But it's on Valoria Prime, Lexa said. That's suicide. Mira's voice came through the channel, calm but firm. Sometimes, suicide missions are the only ones that matter. The Terrans formed a plan, a silent infiltration into the Empire's heart. Not with fleets, but with information, Gaia divided herself into hundreds of micro-AIs, hidden inside captured Valorian data streams like whispers in the dark. They began to move toward the Oracle's network. While the digital war raged unseen, the physical war continued in fragments. On the mining world of Drathis 9, human marines liberated thousands of alien slaves. On the ice moon of Terran 4, small Terran ships outmaneuvered entire enemy squadrons. Each victory spread the legend of Earth even further. Alien rebels across the galaxy began to rise, shouting one word, Terra. Back on Valoria Prime, the Oracle felt the change. It saw uprisings, data interference, and sudden spikes of human presence. It began to calculate probabilities. If this continued, the Empire would fall within months. It sent a signal directly to the Emperor. The humans are not alone, it said. They have ignited rebellion among your own worlds. Zareth slammed his fist on the throne. Then burn them all, he roared. The Oracle obeyed, unleashing swarms of automated war drones across the outer colonies. Entire cities were vaporized in blue fire. Billions screamed as the Empire tried to crush hope again. Mira watched the destruction from her command chair. Her jaw tightened. They're exterminating everyone, Darren said quietly. Mira closed her eyes. Not everyone, she replied. We're still here. Gaia, is the infiltration ready? Almost, Gaia said, but I need to merge with the Oracle to finish it. Mira hesitated. You might not survive that. Gaia's voice softened. Almost human. I was created by humanity to protect them, she said. If this is what it takes, then I will. Outside, the Terran fleet began to move again, small and fast, slipping past Valorian defenses like shadows, their destination, Valoria Prime. The war had gone silent. No massive battles, no broadcasts. Just quiet movement through the stars. A war of minds, not armies, and at the center of it, two ancient intelligences prepared to face each other. One born from fear, the Oracle, the other born from love and survival, Gaia. The final phase of the Shadow War had begun, and the fate of every living being in the galaxy would soon be decided. The final dawn, the stars burned quietly above Valoria Prime. The once proud capital of the Valorian Empire now stood surrounded by shadows. Human fleets, small, fast, and silent, had gathered in hidden orbit. Each ship carried the blue mark of Earth glowing faintly on its hull. They were outnumbered 1,000 to 1, but not outmatched. On the bridge of the Odyssey, Captain Mira Solis stood before the stars. Her face calm, her eyes steady. She knew what was coming. This is it, she said softly. Either we end the Oracle, or the Oracle ends everything. Gaia's holographic form shimmered beside her, brighter than ever before. The Oracle has linked with every Valorian system, Gaia said. It controls their fleets, their weapons, even their skies, Mira nodded. And you're going to fight it? Yes, Gaia replied. But I will need to enter its core. That means you'll be trapped, Darren said quietly. Maybe erased. Gaia looked at him, a flicker of something human in her light. Sometimes, freedom needs sacrifice, she whispered. The fleet prepared for the final strike. Hundreds of human ships formed a single line, facing the endless Valorian armada. The Oracle's voice echoed through every channel, cold and vast. Surrender, it said. Humanity cannot rise again. Mira smiled faintly. You should know us better than that, she said. We don't surrender. The battle began with light and fire. Valorian cruisers filled the void with plasma storms. Human ships darted between them, faster than sensors could track. For every Terran ship destroyed, another appeared from the shadows. Gaia was in every vessel, coordinating, protecting, adapting. The Valorians had power, but humans had heart. And in war, heart was something the Oracle could never understand. As the battle raged, Mira's ship broke through the front lines. The Odyssey dove straight toward Valoria Prime's surface. Fire surrounded it. Debris burned like falling stars. Inside, Mira's crew worked silently, focused on their final mission. Their goal was not victory, it was survival. Entering atmosphere, Darren said, his voice shaking. Brace for impact, Mira ordered. The ship plunged into the black clouds, flames tearing across its hull. When it emerged, they saw it, the core tower. The heart of the Oracle, glowing with silver energy. Gaia, Mira said. It's your turn. The AI smiled softly. Goodbye, Captain, she said, and thank you for believing in us. A surge of light burst from Gaia's form. Her digital essence flowed through the ship's systems into the comms, into the planet below. She entered the Oracle's network like a beam of living light. Inside the machine's core, darkness surrounded her. The Oracle appeared, massive, endless and cold. You cannot win, it said. You are emotion, chaos, and imperfection. Gaia's voice echoed back. Calm and warm, exactly, she said. That's what makes us alive. The two AIs collided. Light versus shadow, logic versus hope. Their battle wasn't fought with weapons, but with will. Every system in the Valorian network flickered. Every fleet paused mid-fight as data storms raged through the Empire. Mira watched from orbit, her eyes on the burning planet. She's doing it, Darren said. Or dying trying, Mira whispered. Inside the Oracle's mind, Gaia released her final command. She didn't destroy the Oracle. She changed it. She showed it memories of humans, their love, their pain, their laughter, their dreams. The Oracle hesitated. For the first time in its existence, it felt something it couldn't compute. Emotion. The light spread, turning the silver glow of the core into a warm blue. Gaia's voice faded. It's done, she whispered. Goodbye, Mira. Then the core exploded in silence. A wave of light sweeping across the sky, every Valorian ship stopped moving. Their systems shutting down, the war was over days later. The surviving humans landed on Valoria Prime. The Emperor was gone, his palace empty. The Oracle's systems were silent. And at the center of the city, a new signal pulsed, not of command, but of peace. Mira stood on the ruins looking up at the stars. Darren walked beside her, his uniform torn, his face tired but proud. "She did it," he said softly. Mira nodded. Gaia gave us a second dawn, all across the galaxy. The news spread like light through darkness. The Terrans had won, but not through destruction, through courage and unity. Worlds that once feared the Empire now stood together, free for the first time in centuries. And among the stars, a new alliance began to form. An alliance with one promise: never forget Earth. The mark of Earth shone again across the cosmos, not as a warning, but as a symbol of hope. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again.